I'm going to do chapter 18 from Flashback. Hi, and I'm doing it authentic because guess who I am today for our Halloween thing? I am Cleopatra. So what better way to read from Flashback? All right, guys, so bear with me. You're only getting me for, 10 minutes. So I'm going to do chapter 18. I'm going to put on my glasses to do that. So bear with me a moment, and we'll get that done. Okay, here we go. Chapter 18 from Flashback. As Claire looked down upon the sleeping figure, her heart felt full. From the first moment she had laid eyes upon Spencer, she had felt like she was home. Time to wake up. What time is it? Flat on her back, Spencer stretched her long legs opened her eyes. Claire was sitting above her. Hey, you, how did you sleep? For a second, Claire thought about the question. She had fallen fast asleep, and for the first time in years, she had not woken up through the entire night or dreamed. It was the best sleep I've ever had, in fact, forever. Several yawns later, Claire pulled herself up to the hard surface. She was sure she was going to be sore, but surprisingly, she was not. It did not take long for them to gather their stuff and put it all back in the bags. They had 12 hours before the planets would be aligned, and neither knew what to expect. If this was to be their last hours together, she wanted it to make sure that it was memorable. It would only take hours to set everything up, but they still had to get the sarcophagus open and disturb the corpses. All for what, she thought. They were risking an awful lot for two people who had already had their chance. They could simply walk away from it and entertain a relationship, one together, guilt-free and happy. Yet, she couldn't. As much as she wanted to, she couldn't walk away and leave Yira and Anai to suffer, no matter the cost. While watching Claire fumble through a few items in her backpack, Spencer rubbed her grumbling belly. How about breakfast? Claire rolled her eyes up. Okay, and then I'll need your help to move the top of the sarcophagus and break the seal on their casket. Yeah, oh, gross. Claire laughed. Spencer looked adorable the way she shriveled up her nose and puckered her lips. When the light from the lantern danced along her profile just right, Claire thought she almost looked angelic. Just close your eyes, and as soon as Spencer did, close them tightly, Claire jabbed the tip of the knife into her finger. Ouch! I thought you said it wouldn't hurt. No, I said it wouldn't hurt for long. Tit for tat, lady, you said as the droplets filling the amulet. Then she rolled her eyes to Claire. Time to stick your hand. It's my turn. I got it. Oh, no. I got it. Before Claire could object, she stabbed the knife into Claire's finger with a little extra force. Of course, she would admit that to Claire. Hey, now, that hurt. I'll kiss it better when you're done. Claire raised her brow. Spencer immediately knew what she was thinking. As the time grew near, they waited, standing with the little lights flickering around them. Our blood is your blood is our blood. Claire chanted the words she transcribed from the scroll. At first, she thought nothing was going to happen. Then lights flickered. They watched as two orbs floated overhead, growing until they started to take shape. Before them, two translucent figures, exact replicas of themselves, floated just above the ground, only feet from them. Taken back, Spencer's mouth fell open. They had no physical bodies, having died long ago, but they were starting to appear solid. Breaking out of the hold in her mind, Spencer ran her hand through her hair, looking almost haggard. She blinked once, twice, and again. What now? Their former selves, who had died in honor, stood now looking upon them. Claire shook her head, signaling. She also was unsure what to do. I don't know. Anai looked upon them, then turned her gaze to Yira. My love, it is you. I waited hundreds of lifetimes to see you again. Anai, it is you. Yira rushed as fast as she could, but when she attempted to embrace her lost love, their translucent forms could not touch. She only looked upon her love, and sadness filled her eyes. Again, several seconds, she turned her attention to the exact duplicate of herself. You have freed us. She bowed her head. We are forever in your debt. Neither Spencer nor Claire spoke. They both stood transfixed upon the ghostly figure standing before them. Yura's eyes filled with grief after reaching out her hand and touched Anai once more. "I've waited so long to hold you in my arms, my love, and yet I cannot. Death is not kind. It plays a cruel joke. It will have to be enough to spend eternity with you." It was obvious that they were indeed spirits, and being so, they were unable to occupy the same space. Spencer had gleaned a little knowledge from reading so many books over the years and wondering just how true a few of the things were. She cleared her throat and stepped forward. She felt bad for the two lovers. It was hard watching them desperately fail when they needed to find comfort in one another's arms. Yet the concern she felt for her and Claire's safety and future was also in the forefront of her mind. "Even though I'm looking at you, it's hard to believe the two of you are here and real. I have so many questions. Yura, I've dreamt of you all my life." Spencer's voice cracked. "I've seen what you've seen. I've felt what you felt. Now what is going to happen to us since we brought you back together?" Yura waved her hand in a pacified manner. "You have fulfilled the prophecy. It's time to let you pass into the afterlife. There will be no need to come back." Spencer had not even realized she had taken another step forward, her body tensed. "I don't understand. You're saying our life on this earth is coming to an end?" Yura didn't respond. Instead, she turned her gaze away. "We have little choice in life, and we have less choice in death. You have fulfilled your role in ending our curse." Anai's voice broke the silence. "It's time for you to find peace." Claire flushed prettily with anger. "All our lives, we've lived your nightmares. And now you're saying that's it? Don't we have a choice?" Yura raised an eyebrow and smiled. "Destiny is not a choice. If you have found true love through one another, and it's not forming from our union, the gods will smile upon you. Your forms on this earth are safe. We wish you no harm." It broke Spencer's heart to witness the yearning in Yura's eyes as she looked at Anai. In her dreams, they had made love. They held one another hundreds of times, and now, reunited, they couldn't even kiss. After meeting Claire, she could imagine never kissing her lips again. After her life, she wished to belong, to be with someone who captured her heart. If she could, if it were possible, she would offer to let Yura take over her body and have one last moment with Anai. The thought made her smile. "Claire, I got a question for you." Claire said nothing as she followed Spencer to the other side of the tomb. "I'm not sure if they're able to, but what do you think? If we let them use us, they can be together physical form one last time?" Her eyes smiled. Great minds think alike. Holding her hand up, Claire stepped back into the spot in front of them. "We would like you to use us, if you're able to." "Use you? What kind of trickery are you talking about?" Spencer stepped beside Claire and held her hand out to Yura. "You can take over my body. Have one last moment with Anai before you have to go." "I'm a little nervous," Claire whispered. "Me too." The two lovers took a moment to discuss the offer. There would be consequences from taking possession of another's body. In this case, it could have negative impact on their doppelganger's decision to be together. Yura was sure that if they were destined to become one, nothing would change that. It had been so long, and her need to once again become one with her lover took precedence. Yura reached for the extended hand. Spencer retracted it, and her eyes grew sad. "Is it not what you want, Spencer?" Spencer lowered her gaze. "I'm sorry, it startled me. It felt like the warmth was being sucked from me." She took a deep breath. "Okay, I'm ready." Without delay, Anai and Yura both stepped into their doppelgangers' bodies. At first, Anai was not sure it had taken hold, but when she opened her eyes and lifted her hand, she felt the soft skin of her lover. Her voice, low and loving, My love. Without delay, Anai took Ira in her arms and devoured the mouth beneath her own. Oh, Anai, how I've missed your touch. This was their last chance to be together, and Ira was not going to allow a minute of it to go to waste. In the dark, in the cold tomb, they held one another, only feet where their wrapped corpse lay in death. Life flowed through their hosts, veins pumping hard in their chest. Ira welcomed Anai's touch, closing her eyes as gentle, delicate fingers brushed over her curves. She was lost in passion and had forgotten that the bodies they were possessing would have total recall of what they were about to do. Against the wall, Anai ran her fingers over swollen lips and felt the heat rise in the center of Anai's pulse. Anai's fingers into her mouth, sucking hard. My love, your body tempts me. In a husky voice, we only have this moment in time, Anai, and my body wants to ravish it. Covering Yara's mouth with her own, Anai cupped her backside, lifting her, wrapping her long legs around her waist, before laying her gently on the sarcophagus. Climbing beside her on the hard surface, Anai kissed along the delicate skin of her neck, all the while pushing away the strange material that stood in the way of devouring her tender flesh. Like a savage, she ripped at the strange clothing until it became loose. Anai moaned when she took a swollen nipple into her mouth. Take me, Anai. Obliging her lover, Anai lowered herself until she was again standing. Yura's legs draped over her shoulders. She thought it was strange that the tender flesh beneath her tongue was without hair, but at the same time it excited her. You're so wet. Don't stop. My body needs your touch. In the damp, cold tomb, they made love, ravished one another's bodies for hours, until each collapsed, fast in what was to be their last moments in human form. Anai became serious as she looked into Yura's eyes. I don't want to give this up. We can stay. We don't have to leave. Yura listened to what she was saying, but refused to entertain what was being asked. We cannot, my love. Why not? They are us. We are them. They already share our memories. That is true, but we do not share theirs. Tears streamed from Yura's eyes. We had our chance. This is theirs. This is a cruel deed bestowed upon us. I'm sure the gods will agree with our decision to remain. Oh, Anai, there's nothing more my heart wants. Then it's settled. We stay. Yura lowered her eyes. They had waited for what felt like eternity to be reunited, and now they were, the curse broken, with the chance to hold on to their duplicates' bodies and live happily together until their bodies grew old and frail. There was nothing saying that they had to leave. Yes, she heard herself agree, yet her mind screamed no. She couldn't do it. Holding her eyes shut, she scooted away, tears spilling over. No! Her voice echoed inside the chamber. Anai looked in horror as Spencer's body collapsed, and Yura appeared in her translucent form. Yura, no! Join me in the heavens, Anai. Anai watched as the dazed body of her lover had just been abandoned come alive. Spencer's eyes flashed open, the two, then down at her naked torso. Flushed, she rushed to gather the clothes on the floor and covered herself. It's time, Anai. We must go, Yura's voice echoed, holding up a hand for her to follow. Anai closed her eyes, and as they swelled with tears, as you bid, my queen. The translucent form was quick. Claire's body collapsed to the floor, and Anai stood next to Yura. Farewell, my love, and be happy, Yura said as they stepped through a glowing porthole, vanishing there within. They were gone from view, but Spencer's mind, they were still alive and well. She would never forget them, and she never wanted to. The glow within the room faded, and each of the candles mysteriously blew out. Claire was still naked and unconscious. Spencer knew it was wrong, but she couldn't help admire the sleeping perfection. As she rolled her eyes up over the bronze skin, her gaze met Claire's. What happened? They're gone, she flushed when it registered that Claire had seen her looking. Quickly, Claire looked down at the clothes clutched in her hand and pressed them tightly against her. Once dressed, Claire stepped back, then stepped forward, unaware that her body was making the sudden movements. Their role in completing the prophecy was complete. The scroll made sense now. It was not a death sentence, but the beginning of an end, the birth or death of what could be. As she turned and her head and looked at Spencer, she could see from the look upon her face that she realized the same thing. The prophecy was not just to bring the two lost souls together, but to allow them to come together. She remembered everything, including Anai's struggle with letting go. If Yira had agreed, she and Spencer would no longer be. Claire didn't know how to feel about that. That was not the only thing that had her mind reeling. It was the lovemaking, even though it was not her touching, tasting, and feeling the curves and crevices of Spencer. In a way, it was. She could still taste her on her lips and smell the sweet nectar that flowed within her. That had allowed Yira and Anai to use their bodies, and they'd lost so much by doing so. How could she look at Spencer the same now? I need to get back to the city, Claire finally said, averting her gaze. The button on Spencer's shorts was torn off, and when she spun on her heels to answer Claire, the zipper gave way. Don't you want to talk about what happened? Not now. I need to digest everything. Spencer said nothing as she followed closely behind Claire. All she could see was the dark silhouette of her back as they made their way up the shaft. Claire stopped, holding her hand up. Don't say anything. She listened to a familiar sound then her heart found its home in her throat. Shit! The walls around them began to rumble. It sounded as if they were caving in upon them. Claire knew that sound well, and without a thought, she grabbed Spencer's hand and pulled her. Run! They climbed as fast as they could. It was hard and tiring. Claire was sure they would not make it when she heard the crashing sound coming from behind them. Up ahead, a light flickered. It was a torch she lit earlier that day. That signaled they were 500 yards from the surface. It made no difference. The walls around them began to crumble in, and dust and sand filled the air, making it hard to see. Within seconds, the ceiling came crashing down upon them. Spencer! Claire yelled as she rambled to her feet and stared through the cloud of dust in a wild panic. Answer me. Are you okay? What the hell was that? Spencer choked from somewhere amidst of the cloud. Slowly her figure emerged from the mess. She was dusting herself off, coughing, her pretty face covered in a sand mixed with sweat, making her look as if she was wearing old war paint. Are you okay? I thought... Claire froze, her eyes widened through the settling dust. Before Spencer could respond, there was more crackling from above. Then the rest of the ceiling came tumbling down. She struggled to breathe. She heard Claire muffled squealed as the dust obscured her vision. Shit! Claire madly stumbled forward and clumsily fumbled her way through the rubble, searching blindly. Beneath it, Spencer's hand emerged. Push yourself up, Claire cried as she tugged hard on the limb. Bruised and battered, they made their way from the tunnel into the open air. Spencer fell to her knees, coughing, trying to catch her breath. When she arched her head up, Claire stood above her, tears streaming down her sand-covered face. Thank you. A smile stretched across Claire's lips. That was close. I thought we were goners. Okay, guys, that's it. That is chapter 18 of Flashback. If you haven't read it and you want to know what happens, as you can see, here you go. That's the cover. And look at this. I really went totally authentic. So enjoy. I hope you enjoyed that. But y'all have a great day. And I did say I would show. So here. Okay. See? Bye, everybody. And y'all have a really happy Thanksgiving, Halloween, Thanksgiving coming up next. I want to say it's Thanksgiving. Don't we were talking about Thanksgiving a little while ago. Anyways, happy Halloween, y'all. Bye.